where things stand right now. Will?
Damon, within the last 45 minutes, I spoke with the mother of London Thomas. As you would expect, Jasmine Bennett has not been getting much sleep since her daughter went missing. Here's what she shared about what she's going through and what she's hearing from police. Tomorrow will mark 2 weeks since your daughter was last seen. How are you doing?
Not well. Not well. I'm holding it together as good as possible. Every moment is torture, whatever. If there's anything that I can say, is just that everybody's supporting and loving us and helping us is getting me through. Other than that, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
And what are you hearing from police?
Nothing really. Nothing I can know. Not much about the investigation or anything else that is really going on at this time has not been released to me.
And what do you think happened to your daughter?
I don't know. I don't know if this is some type of crazy sex ring type of thing. I don't know if she's just been abducted, if somebody tried to hurt her. I don't know. I don't know. Every moment is fear, and I have like 1,000 more ideas of terror that I have to think about.
Last night, Detroit police conducted a second search of the boyfriend's home in Inkster. No word if that turned up anything today. Detroit police telling me they have no updates to release to the public. The reason why Detroit police are handling this case is because Thomas is a resident of Detroit. The family of London Thomas tells me that they are planning more searches in the coming days, and we will certainly pass along that information when that becomes available. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-800-SPEAK-UP, and you can remain anonymous. We're live on Detroit's West Side. Will Jones, Local 4. Breaking news update in the London Thomas death investigation. A person of interest has been rearrested, but it's not related to this case.
The attorney representing Thomas's ex-boyfriend tells us he was arrested by U.S. Marshals earlier today. According to the attorney, he was arrested for allegedly filing a false police report 1 year ago. His mother, Charlotte Pendergrass, was arrested, or charged, I should say, yesterday with lying to police in connection to Thomas's death.
Thomas went missing on April 5th after being dropped off at her ex-boyfriend's house in Inkster. Her remains were found inside a parked SUV in Southfield on April 26th. So far, no one has been charged with the teen's death. We will continue to follow this story, and we'll provide updates as we learn them.
Mary has been working this story all day. It's a sad discovery. Now family has to deal with the lasting impact of this, and investigators try to figure out how this happened.
Yeah, Hillary, we found out about this last night, and obviously very disturbing. She's been missing since the 5th of this month. Hopefully, everyone was hoping that we would find her alive, right? There were massive searches. People were looking for multi-jurisdictional as far as police go. I want you to look at her picture. We've been showing her picture so much during the past month. And then also some video, too, of some of these searches. Her boyfriend's house was raided earlier this month. And then, of course, yesterday we found out that her body had been found here in Southfield. We're not giving out the name of the street right now, but we can tell you that it is a residential area where neighbors just have not wanted to talk. They said that there was a large police presence here last night. Like I said, this is a Michigan State Police case heading up this case, Michigan State Police, but also we've got FBI, we've got Detroit Police, we've got Inkster. This is so many police trying to find her, and it was always the hope that she would be found alive, and sadly, that hope was dashed last night when it was confirmed that she was found here in Southfield, that her body was found. We did talk to one of her friends from childhood. Take a listen.
I went to Beach Elementary with her and Hilbert Middle School. It's not far from here. Yeah, and it was affecting me because I didn't believe it at first until I found out they found her phone in the complete opposite area she was. And I didn't know how to feel. I never had somebody, die that I knew, myself. I had family members, but I didn't really know them. And this is the first person that ever is gone now that I personally knew.
It's just so sad. She was just 17 years old, really had her whole life ahead of her. Meanwhile, we do know that 2 suspects are in custody, but police are not saying anything about them, who they are, how they're connected to this case. We're hoping to learn a lot more tomorrow, Monday, and then, of course, later on in the week. But just a tragic ending to the story that no one wanted. Reporting live in Southfield, Camille Amir.
Thank you. Is the prosecution ready to proceed? Today's the day and time scheduled for preliminary examination in this matter.
No, Your Honor, we're not going to be proceeding today. If I may.
Yes, please.
I became assigned to this case after the defendant had already been charged under this statute. She started lying to a police officer in a violent crime investigation under NCL 750479C. I had earlier requested that the court adjourn this preliminary exam because one of the witnesses was unavailable at that time. Mr. Johnson raised this issue of whether an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation was a peace officer under the statute. Since that time, I have done some research and consulted with other prosecutors in our office. It's alleged that the defendant made these false statements to special agents from the FBI. I've communicated with them. Neither one of them were ever licensed as a police officer in the state of Michigan. There were no other law enforcement agents present when this interaction occurred. When you review the statute specifically under 750479C, parent 5, subsection B, it defined what a peace officer is. A federal agent is not defined under that statute. There are some statutes that would permit a federal agent to be authorized to be a police officer, but however, the way the legislature wrote this statute, I don't believe that trying to proceed under that theory would survive another review. So with that, Your Honor, I don't believe we're going to be able to proceed. I don't think we could establish the elements of the crime at the preliminary exam, so therefore I'm moving to dismiss this case without prejudice.
Thank you. Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor. I appreciate Mr. Razi's recitation. Again, was talked about at the last hearing, and I appreciate his office doing the right thing. So I have no objection of dismissing. Matter of fact, I would just ask with prejudice, Your Honor, simply because obviously there's no way with the federal agent level that would force this.
The court was aware of the argument as it was raised at the last session when we were here. The court did also look up the statute. Based on the information that's given from the prosecution, the court will dismiss this matter against Ms. Pendergrass. Ms. Pendergrass, please stand. You're okay. The court does dismiss this matter, but it will be without prejudice. Charges are dismissed against you, and you have freedom.
Your Honor, there's a matter of, I believe she has a tether on. Should she report back to Wayne County for that?
Or to be removed, yes. That was the condition of the bond, correct?
It is correct. Will that be transmitted to them, or how should I? That's fine. Thank you.
You all set? Thank you. If there's nothing further, that concludes this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. You just have a great day.
Thank you. As well.
At the very latest, Scott.
Hi, Taryn. Yeah, this is a really big deal for London's family who, have basically been hearing radio silence from investigators since London's body was found last Saturday. Now, 48-year-old Charla Pendergrass of Inkster has been charged with lying to a peace officer. The other person of interest has been released for now, but investigators still consider them a person of interest. Take a listen to what London's grandmother had to say.
It's been miserable, heartbroken, not eating, not sleeping. It's just heartbroken. I'll never get my baby back.
No murder charges in the case of 17-year-old London Thomas, who was found dead April 26th. But in connection, 48-year-old Charla Pendergrass has been charged with lying to a peace officer, a felony carrying up to 4 years in prison.
I think she got something to do with it. I want justice for my granddaughter. I want her to go to jail for murder. I want justice for my granddaughter.
Charlotte Pendergrass is one of two suspects police originally had in custody. State police confirm the other suspect, who has not been charged, has been released and is still considered a suspect.
They trying to lie and had and scheme for each other. I want justice. I want both of them. Life for life. Do some time. 4 years ain't enough.
What we know about Charlotte Pendergrass, she's connected with a home on Carlisle Street in Inkster, the same street London Thomas was last seen on April 5th when visiting her boyfriend. London's grandma says shortly after London's disappearance, she confronted Charlotte Pendergrass.
I talked to the lady, and she told me my granddaughter had left. I knew she was lying.
When was that?
When we was looking for London, and she was sitting in the car like she was talking to somebody and didn't want nobody in the house to know what she was saying. And when she said she walked off, I knew she was lying.
Pendergrass's bond was set at $50,000 cash surety. If she does post that bond, she'll have to wear a GPS tether, cannot have any contact with anybody involved in this investigation, witness, victim, anything like that. As to what exactly she lied about, two peace officers, they're keeping that pretty close to the vest. Not a lot of detail on that, but we will keep you updated on the very latest. For now, reporting live.
This is a CBS News Detroit update.
Good Friday morning. I'm Lauren Winfrey with a look at some of the stories we're following. The boyfriend of a missing teen and his mother now face charges in connection to her disappearance and death. London Thomas was last seen April 5th after being dropped off at her boyfriend's home in Inkster. Her body was found April 26th inside an SUV parked in Southfield. This morning, Jalen Pendergrass and his mother, Charlotte Pendergrass, they'll be in court with second-degree murder charges. Thomas's family outraged by the charges, but not surprised.
Always been heavy on my mind that they were involved somehow, some way. Now, that just clarifies, what I've been feeling, what everybody been thinking.
If convicted, both Jalen and Charlotte Pendergrass could face life in prison. It's still unclear if additional arrests will be made. The owner of a building in Clinton Township.
Mother and son appear in court to be formally charged with the murder of London Thomas.
That's right. Jalen and Charlotte Pendergrass each face a charge of second-degree murder and evidence tampering in the death of the teen who went missing back in April. Let's get out to our Jay Scott Smith tonight live with the very latest. Jay, were they given bond?
Well, actually, Ty and Kim, we will definitely get to that. London Thomas's family also spoke following this hearing, and while they're still mourning the loss of this young woman, they at least have found some solace in knowing that the people they think committed this heinous crime have been charged.
We believed this day was going to come, and everybody, we all knew that they did something, and we're just happy that the light has been shown, and thankful.
Cedric Salisbury expressed relief this morning that Charlotte and Jalen Pendergrass, the mother and son who were charged with killing his daughter, London Thomas, were finally standing in front of a judge. Both have been charged with second-degree murder and evidence tampering in connection with Thomas's death. Justina Martin is Thomas's grandmother and says that the streets are safer with Jalen Pendergrass in jail.
You can look at them and see they both something wrong with them, mainly him. And I don't feel they need to be on the streets because it's not safe with nobody else's kids out there.
Thomas was found dead in Southfield on April 26th, 2 weeks after she had been reported missing to the Detroit police. She was last seen when she was dropped off at the Pendergrass' home on Carlisle Street in Inkster 21 days earlier on April 5th. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy said the 23-year-old Jalen Pendergrass and the 17-year-old Thomas were previously in a relationship, but it had ended at the time she arrived at the house. On April 26th, one of Charlotte's friends told the FBI that she'd asked him to move a sealed plastic bin with unknown contents on April 11th. He said that he placed that bin in an SUV on Millard Street in Southfield, and when police searched the SUV, they found Thomas's dead body inside of the bin. The Oakland County Medical Examiner found that she died from asphyxia, and her death was ruled a homicide. Despite the investigation taking 6 months, which included initial charges against Charlotte Pendergrass being dropped, London's father is thankful that it's made it this far.
far.
Hopefully they did a thorough investigation. Maybe that's why it took so long. And, you know, we can move forward and still wrap this up so my daughter can rest in peace now.
Now, Ty, you did ask about bond. Charla actually did receive a $5 million cash bond. She was also ordered to wear a GPS, and she can't leave the state of Michigan. Jalen, on the other hand, is being held without bond because he has pending charges on a separate case that's in Oakland County. And for both the mother and the son, they're going to be right back here next Wednesday for a probable cause hearing. We're live in Inkster. I'm Jay Scott Smith for Local 4.
Thomas hopes to move one step closer to justice today.
She is the 17-year-old local teen murdered earlier this year. Her ex-boyfriend and his mother now facing charges.
Our Gino Vici is following the developments in the case. Gino, good morning to you. The mother and son, as we mentioned, they're back in court today.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And look, 24-year-old Jalen Pendergrass, that's the former boyfriend. 42-year-old Charlotte Pendergrass, that's his mother. They're both going to be facing a judge today inside a 22nd District Court here in Inkster. Now, Jalen and his mother, Charla, have been charged in connection to the death and disappearance of London Thomas. Prosecutors are expected to lay out evidence they say ties Jalen to her death and show that his mother, Charla, allegedly helped cover it up. Now, London went missing back on April 5th after being dropped off to Jalen's home in Inkster. And then her body was discovered days later, placed inside of a plastic sealed bin, which was placed inside of an SUV that was found up in Southfield. Now, London's family is expected to be in court today as the judge decides whether there is enough evidence to send this case to trial. We've been in close contact with her mother throughout this entire ordeal, and we've also been in contact with her father, who we spoke with right after the arraignment here last month. Here's what he had to say.
Oh, I'm so angry and I'm so happy and satisfied at the same time. You know, we all knew that they were pretty much responsible for what happened. So now we're moving forward. We're moving in the right direction. We're going for justice for London.
Justice for London, that's what the community has wanted, and especially her family. We're expected to probably hear some very disturbing evidence and some answers the family they want, which is why this had to happen to their daughter. Back to you.
Yeah, still so many